The Last Lighthouse. Chapter 1. Echoes of the Drowned. The skeletal fingers of a submerged skyscraper claw at the sky, its broken windows gaping like hungry mouths. I navigate our solar-powered houseboat through the maze of a once bustling coastal city, now a watery graveyard. Beacon's ears perk up, his brown eyes scanning the horizon. I've learned to trust his instincts more than my own. "What do you see, boy?" I whisper, my hand instinctively reaching for the harpoon gun strapped to my back. Beacon's low growl confirms my suspicions. We're not alone. I guide our boat towards a partially submerged department store, its faded sign barely visible above the waterline. "Keep watch," I tell Beacon as I prepare to dive. He barks softly in acknowledgement, his powerful body tense and alert. Cool water envelops me as I slip beneath the surface. In the murky green, ghostly mannequins stare with blank eyes, their plastic limbs tangled in seaweed. I suppress a shudder and focus on my task. Canned goods, first aid supplies, anything useful. As I rummage through waterlogged shelves, a flash of movement catches my eye. A school of mutated fish, scales glinting with unnatural iridescence, darts past. A stark reminder of how much the world has changed. My lungs burn, urging me back to the surface. I break through with a gasp, hauling myself and my meager findings onto the boat. Beacon's tail wags as he helps me pull the net aboard, but his ears remain alert. "Good haul today, huh?" I say, more to fill the silence than anything else. Beacon tilts his head, and for a moment I can almost pretend he understands every word. A distant splash shatters the illusion. Beacon's hackles rise as a ramshackle raft emerges from behind a half-sunken billboard. 3 figures, faces hidden behind makeshift masks, paddle furiously towards us. "Scavengers!" I hiss, heart racing. "Time to go, boy." I fire up the boat's engine, silently thanking whatever gods might be left that the solar panels are fully charged. The scavengers shout, their words lost to the wind as we accelerate. Beacon barks a warning as a harpoon whizzes past, missing us by inches. I zigzag through the urban reef, relying on memory and instinct to navigate the treacherous waters. Another harpoon splashes nearby, closer this time. An idea strikes. I steer towards a cluster of sunken cars, their rusted frames forming a chaotic maze. "Hold on, Beacon!" We weave through the metal graveyard, the scavengers' raft too wide to follow. Their frustrated yells fade as we emerge on the other side, leaving them trapped in the labyrinth of their own making. As the adrenaline ebbs, a familiar ache settles in my chest. Mum would have loved to see that escape. Dad would have laughed at the scavengers' foolishness. But they're gone, swallowed by the same waves that devoured our world. Beacon nuzzles my hand, his warm presence anchoring me to the present. I scratch behind his ears, grateful for his unwavering companionship. "Let's go home, boy," I whisper. Our houseboat, a patchwork of scavenged parts and solar panels, bobs gently on the waves. It's not much, but it's all we have. As I secure our new supplies, my mind wanders to the rumour I've heard whispered by passing traders. A lighthouse still functioning, guiding survivors to dry land. It's probably just another false hope, but as I watch the sun set over the endless expanse of water, I can't help but wonder, what if it's real? What if there's something more out there? Beacon woofs softly, as if sensing my thoughts. I smile, running my hand through his fur. "Maybe tomorrow, boy," I say, more to myself than to him. "Maybe tomorrow we'll find out." As night falls, I retreat into the cabin, Beacon curling up at my feet. The gentle lapping of waves against the hull lulls me into a fitful sleep, my dreams filled with lighthouses and the ghosts of a world long drowned. Chapter 2. Departure. The rising sun paints our flooded world in fiery hues, a beautiful lie masking lurking dangers. I stand at the helm, fingers tracing the worn edges of a dog-eared map. Beacon sits beside me, his warmth a silent comfort as I wrestle with indecision. "What do you think, boy?" I ask, drawing strength from his steady gaze. "Should we risk it all for a rumour?" Beacon's ears perk up, and suddenly I'm transported back in time. "Always chase your dreams, Aria," Mum said, eyes crinkling with her smile. "But remember, sometimes the journey matters more than the destination." Dad chuckled, ruffling my hair. "And always pack extra socks," he added with a wink. The memory fades, leaving a familiar ache. I blink back tears, refocusing. They'd want us to try, wouldn't they? Beacon responds with a soft woof. Decision made, I spring into action. We spend the morning checking supplies, counting canned goods, refilling water tanks, and running diagnostics on our life-giving solar systems. As midday approaches, I stand at the bow, taking in the submerged city one last time. Broken buildings and rusted billboards stretch out, a graveyard of the old world. We might never see this place again, I tell Beacon, who presses against my leg. But maybe that's okay. Maybe there's something better out there. With a deep breath, I fire up the engine. The quiet hum of solar-powered motors fills the air as we begin to move. Beacon barks excitedly, tail wagging at the promise of adventure. Navigating the urban canals, I feel a potent mix of excitement and terror. Every inch takes us further from the known, closer to an unimaginable future. The rumoured lighthouse becomes a beacon in my mind, a symbol of hope in our often hopeless world. Keep your eyes peeled, boy, I say as we pass the last familiar landmark. We're in uncharted waters now. The skyline shrinks behind us. I resist the urge to look back, focusing on the horizon. Vast water stretches in every direction, broken only by occasional tips of submerged structures. As the sun sets, casting long shadows across the waves, panic flutters in my chest. What if the lighthouse is just a myth? What if we're sailing into more danger and disappointment? Beacon, sensing my unease, nuzzles my hand. I scratch behind his ears, drawing comfort from his presence. You're right, I murmur. No turning back now. Whatever's out there, we'll face it together. I adjust our course, guided by nothing more than a faded map and whispered rumour. As darkness falls, I switch on our navigation lights, creating a small island of illumination in the vast, dark sea. In the quiet night, with Beacon on watch and the gentle hum of motors beneath us, I allow myself a small smile. For the first time in years, I feel something almost forgotten. Hope. Whatever tomorrow brings, whatever challenges lie ahead, we're moving forward. And maybe, just maybe, we're sailing towards something better. As I settle in for the night, I whisper a quiet promise to the ghosts of my past and the possibilities of my future. We're coming, Lighthouse. Ready or not, here we come. Beacon woofs softly in agreement, and together, we sail into the unknown. Chapter 3. Uncharted Waters. The morning sun dances on the water, casting dazzling reflections against the rusted skeletons of skyscrapers jutting from the sea. I guide our houseboat through this urban archipelago, eyes constantly scanning for hidden dangers lurking beneath the surface. Easy, Beacon, I mutter as we navigate around a half-submerged office building. Its broken windows gape like jagged teeth, ready to tear into our hull at the slightest misstep. Beacon whines softly, ears pricked forward, sensing my tension. A flash of movement catches my eye. Something large and sinuous glides beneath us, its scales shimmering with an unnatural, almost metallic sheen. My heart races as I realise it's not alone. What are those? I whisper, more to myself than to Beacon. These aren't like any fish I've ever seen. Their bodies are elongated, almost eel-like, but with fins too large and complex for their frames. Mutations, I realise with a chill. The floods didn't just reshape the land, they've changed life itself. Beacon's low growl snaps me back to attention. I need to focus. Pulling out a waterproof case, I retrieve the device I've been working on for weeks, a makeshift sonar cobbled together from salvaged tech. It's untested, but it might be our best shot at detecting underwater threats. I power it up, holding my breath as the screen flickers to life. A grainy image appears, showing the ghostly outlines of the structures around us. And there, moving in swirling patterns, are the mutated creatures. It works, I breathe, a mixture of relief and pride washing over me. Beacon barks softly, as if sharing in my small victory. Guided by the sonar, I steer us through the labyrinth of sunken buildings. The hours crawl by as we navigate the treacherous urban reef. The sun climbs higher, beating down on us relentlessly. Sweat trickles down my back, but I can't afford to lose focus for even a moment. As midday approaches, we reach the outskirts of the submerged city. The density of buildings begins to thin, giving way to what must have once been suburbs. Half-collapsed houses and waterlogged strip malls replace the looming skyscrapers. It's a gradual transition, but I can feel the difference in the air, a sense of openness, of possibility. We're making progress, boy, I tell Beacon, allowing myself a small smile. He wags his tail, seeming to sense the change in our surroundings. But our journey is far from over. As afternoon bleeds into evening, we encounter a new challenge, a massive structure hidden just beneath the water's surface, invisible until my sonar shrieks a warning. "Hard to port!" I yell, spinning the wheel. The boat lurches, and for a heart-stopping moment I think we're going to capsize, but we clear the obstacle with inches to spare, the hull scraping against something solid underwater. As my pulse slowly returns to normal, I spot a building ahead with its upper floors still above the waterline. After hours of tense navigation, the promise of solid ground is too tempting to pass up. "What do you say we take a look, boy?" I ask Beacon. His tail wags in response. Mooring the boat, we make our way inside. The air is stale and heavy with mould, but my eyes light up at the sight of untouched supply cabinets. "Jackpot," I whisper, quickly filling my bag with first aid kits and non-perishable food. A sharp bark from Beacon cuts through the silence. His hackles are raised, eyes fixed on the entrance. I strain my ears and catch it, the faint sound of another boat engine. "Time to go," I hiss, shouldering my pack. We rush back to our houseboat, my mind racing. Have we been spotted? Are they friendly or hostile? I fire up the engine, my hand hovering over the sonar device. As the other boat's engine grows louder, I make a split-second decision and activate it. The screen immediately shows a larger vessel approaching fast from our starboard side. "Hold on, Beacon," I warn, pushing our boat to full speed. I weave through the remnants of the submerged suburbs, using the sonar to plot the safest course while staying ahead of our pursuer. For tense minutes, it's a game of cat and mouse through the flooded streets and cul-de-sacs. But gradually, the sound of the other engine fades. I allow myself a small smile. My jury-rigged tech and knowledge of these waters have given us the edge. As the sun begins to set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, we finally break free of the last scattered houses. Before us stretches an expanse of open water, dotted only occasionally by the tips of submerged structures. It's beautiful and terrifying all at once, the true unknown. "We did it, boy," I murmur, scratching behind Beacon's ears. "We're in uncharted waters now." The day's journey has taken its toll. My arms ache from hours of steering, and my eyes burn from constant vigilance. But there's an undeniable thrill coursing through me. We've pushed further than ever before, each mile bringing us closer to the possibility of that rumoured lighthouse. As full darkness falls, I set our course by the stars, a small light in a vast, flooded world. The gentle lapping of waves against our hull is soothing after the day's tension. I allow myself to relax slightly, knowing we've at least put some distance between us and any potential threats from the city. "First watch is yours, Beacon," I tell him, stifling a yawn. "Wake me if anything seems off." As I settle in for a few hours of much-needed rest, I can't help but wonder what new challenges tomorrow will bring. But for now, I'm content with how far we've come. Whatever the future holds, we'll face it together, Beacon and I, sailing towards a horizon full of both danger and hope. Chapter 4. Tempest. The first signs are subtle. A shift in the wind, a darkening on the horizon that isn't just another drowned skyscraper. I've learned to read the water and sky like others once read books, and right now they're spelling out trouble. "Looks like we're in for some weather, Beacon," I mutter, scanning the gathering clouds. My faithful companion whines softly, his ears flattening against his head. He feels it too. I spring into action, movements quick and practiced. Every loose item needs securing or stowing below deck. Our precious solar panels need extra protection. I work methodically, mind racing through scenarios and contingencies. "Help me with this, boy," I grunt, wrestling with a stubborn tarp. Beacon grabs the edge with his teeth, pulling it taut as I fasten it down. The wind whips my hair across my face, picking up strength. The storm hits with the fury of a scorned god. Rain lashes down in sheets, obscuring everything beyond our boat's bow. Gentle swells transform into liquid mountains, threatening to swallow us whole. I grit my teeth, hands white-knuckled on the wheel. This is what we've prepared for, what countless drills and close calls have trained us for, but knowing that doesn't make the reality any less terrifying. "Come on, baby," I mutter to our houseboat, feeling every groan and shudder of its frame. "Hold together." A massive wave crashes over us. For a heart-stopping moment, I'm underwater, disoriented, unsure which way is up. Then Beacon's bark cuts through the chaos, anchoring me. I surface with a gasp, blinking saltwater from my eyes. That's when I hear it, a sickening crack from below deck. My stomach drops. Something vital has given way. No, 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 I chant, fighting to keep us steady while my mind races. The engine, the hull, either could be catastrophic. As if in answer, the boat lurches sickeningly to one side. We're taking on water. Panic claws at my throat, but I force it down. Panic is a luxury we can't afford. I need options, a way out. That's when I see it. Through a momentary break in the downpour, a cluster of structures rises from the waves. Not the usual drowned buildings, but something different. Purposeful. Inhabited. A rooftop community. My heart races. We've heard whispers of such places, survivors banding together on whatever dry land remains. But they're rare, and not always welcoming to outsiders. What do you think, Beacon? I shout over the howling wind. Frying pan or fire? He barks once decisively. I nod, choice made. Strange as it is, I turn the wheel, angling us towards the distant sanctuary. Every instinct screams against it. Trust no one. Rely on yourself. That's been our creed for so long. But as another wave crashes over us and the boat groans ominously, I know we're out of options. Hold on, boy, I grit out, fighting the current. Just a little further. The rooftop structures loom larger, details emerging through the rain. I see movement, figures scurrying about. They've spotted us. As we draw closer, doubt gnaws at me. What if they're hostile? What if this is a trap? But the alternative is a watery grave, so I press on. I guide our failing boat towards a makeshift dock, heart pounding. Voices carry over the wind, shouted instructions I can't quite make out. Hands reach for us, and I hesitate for a split second before grasping them. We're pulled from our sinking home onto solid ground, or what passes for it in this flooded world. Beacon shakes himself, sending water flying, while I stand unsteadily, catching my breath. A figure approaches, tall and commanding. Welcome to High Haven, a woman's voice calls out. I'm Captain Mira. You've picked one hell of a day for a visit. I meet her gaze, adrenaline still coursing through my veins. I'm Aria, I manage, and this is Beacon. We need help. She nods, expression unreadable. That much is clear. Come on, let's get you dried off and your boat secured. Then we'll talk. As we follow her towards shelter, Beacon pressing close to my side, I can't shake the feeling that we've traded one storm for another. But for now, we're alive, and that's all that matters. The real test, I suspect, is yet to come. Chapter 5. Sanctuary. The storm's fury ebbs as we step onto High Haven's rickety walkways, trading the sea's chaos for a new uncertainty. The air is thick with the aftermath salt spray and the acrid scent of debris carried by the wind. Uprooted vegetation and fragments of shattered structures bob in the choppy waters surrounding us, grim evidence of the Tempest's destructive power. Captain Mira guides us through a maze of interconnected rooftops, each a patchwork of scavenged materials. Many show fresh damage-torn tarps flap in the breeze, and crews work feverishly to repair breached walls. Beacon pads beside me, fur still dripping, eyes alert to our unfamiliar surroundings. Not much, but it's home, Mira says, pride underlying her gruff tone. Food, shelter, safety in numbers, more than most have these days, especially after a blow like that. I nod, taking in the bustling activity. People mend nets, tend to battered hydroponic gardens, and repair salvaged equipment. It's a stark contrast to our solitary life, and I can't help but marvel at their resilience in the face of nature's wrath. Your boat, Mira continues, gesturing to where it bobs precariously at a makeshift dock. We'll patch it up. Can't have you stranded here. Her tone holds something I can't quite place. Kindness? Calculation? Thank you, I manage, voice hoarse from shouting over the storm. A sun-bleached young man jogs up, splashing through puddles left by the receding floodwaters. Captain, new arrival's boat secure. We've started damage assessment. Looks like the storm did a number on her, but nothing we can't fix. Mira nods. Good, Finn. Show our guests to the communal area. Dry clothes, hot food. I'm sure they could use it after what they've been through. Finn grins, curiosity bright in his eyes. Sure thing. Follow me, Aria, I supply. And this is Beacon. As we follow, I marvel at the ingenuity on display, even more impressive given the recent battering. Solar panels cover every surface, some newly angled to catch the weak sunlight breaking through dissipating clouds. Rainwater collection systems, swollen from the deluge, feed into storage tanks. Makeshift windmills, a few missing blades, spin lazily in the gusty aftermath. Impressive setup, I comment, aiming for neutrality despite my awe. Finn beams. Thanks, we've worked hard. Captain says self-sufficiency is key, especially when nature decides to remind us who's boss. We reach a large area where people gather around communal tables, many nursing minor injuries or comforting shaken children. The aroma of hot food makes my stomach growl, a reminder that we haven't eaten since before the storm hit. Over the meal, Finn asks about life on open water. I answer cautiously, but his earnestness is disarming. What brings you here? He asks between bites. I mean, besides the storm trying to swallow you whole. I hesitate. We're looking for something. A lighthouse. Finn's eyes widen. The beacon of hope. You've heard of it? My heart races. You know about it? He leans in, lowering his voice. It's real, Aria. Traders have seen it. Guiding people to dry land, a new start, a place the floods and storms can't touch. Before I can press further, Mira approaches, looking weary but determined. Finn, greenhouse needs you. That last big gust took out a whole section. Aria, let's discuss your repairs. Mira leads me to a makeshift dry dock where my houseboat sits, looking even more battered in the harsh light of day. A team of workers swarm over it, assessing damage and beginning repairs. Hull breach here, a grizzled mechanic points out. Not too bad, though. We can patch it with some salvaged metal sheets. Lucky you didn't go down in that monster of a storm. Mira nods. And the engine? Water damage, another worker calls out. But we've got spare parts that should work. Couple days we'll have her running again. I watch, a mix of relief and unease churning in my gut. These strangers' hands on our home, our lifeline. But I know we have no choice. Thank you, I say to Mira. I can help with the repairs. She eyes me appraisingly. All right, you work with Finn. He knows our systems. Over the next 2 days, I work alongside Finn and the others. We seal the hull breach, flush the engine, and replace damaged components. It's grueling work, but seeing our boat transform back into a seaworthy vessel eases some of my anxiety. She'll be good as new, Finn says, wiping sweat from his brow. Maybe better, with the upgrades we've added. I force a smile, but something in his tone sets me on edge, as if he's trying too hard to reassure me. That night, unable to sleep, I explore. The settlement is eerily quiet as I slip through shadows, Beacon at my heels. A muffled sound leads me to a hidden trapdoor. Curiosity overrides caution. I ease it open, revealing a ladder descending into darkness. The stench hits first, salt, rot, and something sickly sweet. As my eyes adjust, I make out shapes, cages, and inside, my horrified gasp is cut short by a hand over my mouth. You shouldn't be here, Finn hisses. I spin to face him, heart pounding. The earnest boy is gone, replaced by someone harder, dangerous. What is this? I demand, voice shaking. What are you doing to those people? Finn's expression mixes shame and defiance. What we have to, for the greater good. As the implications sink in, I realize the true cost of High Haven's prosperity. And I know with sickening certainty that Beacon and I are no longer guests. We're prisoners. My mind races, calculating. Our boat is repaired, ready to sail. But can we reach it? As Finn's grip tightens, I know one thing for certain. Our time in this false sanctuary has come to an end. Chapter 6. Betrayal. My mind reels as I stare into the abyss beneath High Haven. Cages, the stench of decay and muffled sounds of human suffering assault my senses. Finn's grip on my arm anchors me to this nightmarish reality. You don't understand, he whispers, eyes darting nervously. This is how we survive. I wrench free, bile rising in my throat. By caging people, by... The words stick, too horrific to voice. Beacon growls low, sensing my distress. I steady myself with a hand on his head. It's more complicated than that, Finn pleads. His face contorts with inner turmoil, a war between the earnest boy I thought I knew and the harsh reality of High Haven. Aria, please. We don't have a choice. There's always a choice, I hiss back. Come on, we need to go before... Before what, Finn? Captain Mira's voice slices through the darkness. We whirl to face her, silhouetted against the night sky. Her stance speaks volumes, a woman used to hard choices and obedience. Finn's demeanour shifts instantly. His shoulders straighten, and a mask of dutiful efficiency falls over his features. I watch, stunned, as the conflict in his eyes gives way to resigned determination. I caught her snooping, Captain, Finn reports, his voice steady. I was just about to bring her to you. The betrayal stings more than I expected. I search Finn's face for any hint of the friendly, earnest boy I thought I knew. There's a flicker of something, regret perhaps, but it's quickly buried. Enough. Mira's gaze locks onto mine. I suppose we need to have a chat, Aria. The walk to Mira's quarters is tense and silent. My mind races, calculating odds, searching for escape routes. But with Beacon at my side, I can't risk recklessness. Mira's room is Spartan, dominated by maps and charts. She gestures for me to sit, but I remain standing. Beacon positions himself between us, a furry shield. What you saw, Mira begins evenly, is the cost of our survival. You're keeping people in cages, I spit. How can you possibly justify that? Mira's eyes flash. Do you think I enjoy it? Those people are raiders, scavengers, killers. We contain the threat and they contribute to our community. Contribute? The word tastes foul. Labour mostly, and some medical necessities. The implication hits like a physical blow. Organ harvesting, blood farming. My mind reels with nightmarish possibilities. You're monsters, I whisper. Mira's expression hardens. We're survivors. In this world, it's us or them. I've chosen us. I glance at Finn, standing rigidly by the door. His eyes meet mine for a moment, and I see the weight of compromise etched in his features. He's made his choice too, aligning with the devil he knows. A commotion outside interrupts. Finn's professional mask slips for a moment as he turns to the door, then back to Mira. Captain, there's a problem with the new arrivals boat. The repair crew found something. Mira's gaze snaps to me, suspicion blooming. What did you bring to my home, girl? I seize the moment. Beacon, now! My companion lunges, creating chaos. I dart past Mira, shoving Finn aside as I sprint for the door. As I pass, I catch a glimpse of conflict in his eyes, a mixture of betrayal, understanding, and something like regret. Alarms blare as I race through the settlement, Beacon at my heels. My mind whirls with half-formed plans. The boat. I need to reach the boat. I skid around a corner, nearly colliding with residents. Stop her! Someone shouts, but I'm already past, legs pumping furiously. The dock comes into view, my houseboat bobbing gently. I leap aboard, Beacon right behind. Fingers fumbling, I start the engine, praying the repairs hold. A figure appears on the dock. Finn, his face a mask of conflicting emotions. Our eyes meet briefly. I'm sorry, he says, barely audible over the engine. His voice cracks with genuine remorse. I wish things could be different. Then he turns and shouts, They're getting away. The betrayal stings, even though I barely know him. In those few words I hear the echo of a boy who once dreamed of something better, now trapped by the harsh realities of survival. I gun the engine, steering us away from High Haven as shouts and alarms fade into the night. But we're not clear yet. Lights appear behind us, growing larger. They're in pursuit. Hold on, Beacon, I mutter, pushing our boat to its limits. We're not done yet. As we speed into the darkness, High Haven shrinking behind us, I can't shake the horror of what I've seen. The world I thought I understood has shifted, revealing new depths of cruelty and desperation. But there's no time to dwell. We have a lighthouse to find, and a community of monsters at our heels. I grip the wheel tighter, jaw set. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, Beacon and I against the world, as always. Chapter 7. Pursuit. Dawn breaks, a sickly grey light barely piercing the heavy clouds. I've been at the helm for hours, every muscle screaming, eyes stinging from salt and exhaustion. But I can't stop, not with the distant hum of engines still echoing behind us. They're persistent, I'll give them that, I mutter to Beacon. He whines softly, his warm presence a constant comfort in the chaos. I scan the horizon, mind racing. We're in open water now, the drowned cityscapes left behind. Fewer obstacles, but also fewer hiding places. A flash of inspiration hits. I adjust our course towards a patch of water that looks slightly different. It's subtle, but I've learned to read the sea like a book. Hold on, boy, I warn as we approach. This might get rough. The boat lurches as we hit a strong current. I fight the wheel, using the flow to slingshot us forward. It's risky, but it gives us a burst of speed our pursuers aren't ready for. For a moment, I dare to hope we've lost them. Then a sharp crack splits the air, and something whistles past my ear. They're shooting at us? I gasp, disbelief turning to anger. So much for their greater good. Beacon barks sharply, hackles rising. Before I can react, he leaps to the stern, placing himself between me and danger. Another shot rings out. Time slows. Beacon flinches, red spraying his golden fur. He stumbles but doesn't fall. No! I scream, abandoning the wheel to rush to his side. The bullet grazed him. Painful but not life-threatening. Rage boils in my chest. These people who spoke of community, who took us in only to betray us, they hurt Beacon, my family, my everything. It's okay, boy, I murmur, binding the wound with a strip of my shirt. You're going to be fine, and we're going to make them pay. I return to the helm, newfound determination fueling me. Ahead, I spot a field of floating debris remnants of some long-ago disaster. It's dangerous, but it's also an opportunity. Time to lose them for good, I say, gritting my teeth as I steer us into the maze. The next few minutes blur into swift turns and heart-stopping near misses. I push our boat to its limits, relying on instinct and desperation. Behind us, shouts and crunching metal fade as our pursuers struggle to keep up. When we emerge on the other side, we're alone again, just Beacon and me against the endless sea. I slump against the wheel, exhaustion crashing over me. But there's no time to rest. Beacon needs attention, and our supplies are dangerously low. As if answering an unspoken prayer, I spot something on the horizon. At first I think it's just more debris. But as I squint against the growing light, my heart leaps. A tower rising from the waves. And at its top, a light flashing steadily, cutting through the gloom. Beacon, I breathe, barely daring to believe it. I think we found it. The lighthouse, he woofs softly, nuzzling my hand. I scratch behind his ears, a smile tugging at my lips despite everything. What do you say, boy? Think we've got one more adventure in us? Beacon's tail wags, a clear answer. I turn the wheel, setting our course for the distant light. We're battered, exhausted and running on fumes. But we're not beaten. Not yet. The lighthouse beckons, a promise of hope in a world determined to stamp it out. And come hell or high water, both of which we've seen plenty of, we're going to reach it, together. Chapter 8. Maelstrom. The lighthouse looms before us, a solitary giant rising from the endless sea. As we draw closer, my heart sinks. Something's wrong. Do you see that, Beacon? I murmur, squinting against the glare. The water around the lighthouse churns violently, a massive whirlpool guarding its base. Beacon whines, ears flat against his head. I scratch behind them, feigning confidence. It's okay, boy. We'll figure this out. Studying the swirling waters, an idea forms. What if we use it? I think aloud. Ride the edge, let it slingshot us in. It's insane, probably suicidal. But our dwindling supplies and Beacon's healing wound leave us few options. Okay, I say, steeling myself. Let's do this. I secure everything, check Beacon's harness. His unwavering trust nearly breaks me. I won't let anything happen to you. I promise, voice thick. We're in this together, right? He woofs softly. I manage a smile. That's my boy. Trembling hands steer us towards the whirlpool's edge. We hit the current, immediately dragged into its pull. I grit my teeth, fighting to control our descent. Easy, I mutter, nice and slow. We pick up speed, the world blurring. The roar drowns everything but my pounding heart. The lighthouse appears in fleeting glimpses as we spin faster. Suddenly, a cross-current hits. The boat lurches violently. Pain explodes in my ribs as I'm thrown against the wheel. Beacon yelps, sliding towards the edge. No! I scream, lunging for him. My fingers brush his fur just out of reach. Time slows. Beacon's eyes wide with fear but trusting. Something crystallizes within me, strength I didn't know I had. Ignoring the pain, I throw myself forward. My arms lock around Beacon as he goes over. For a heart-stopping second, we're suspended over the abyss. Then I heave, muscles screaming. We tumble back onto the deck. Okay, I pant. New plan. Instead of fighting the current, I let it take us, watching, feeling its rhythm, waiting. Then, with every ounce of strength left, I wrench the wheel hard. The boat shudders but holds. We shoot forward like a cork from a bottle, flung clear of the whirlpool's grasp. For a moment, we're airborne. Then we crash into calmer waters, the impact rattling my bones. But we're through. We made it. I slump against the wheel, exhausted. Beacon licks my hand, tail wagging weakly. I manage a breathless laugh. Yeah, I say, ruffling his fur. We did it, boy. Slowly, I guide our battered boat towards the lighthouse. Its beam sweeps over us, welcoming us home. We're not safe yet, but we're alive. We're together. And for now, that's enough. Chapter 9. Hope the lighthouse towers above us, its weathered stone a testament to endurance in a world that's tried to erase all traces of the past. As I guide our battered boat to the small dock at its base, my heart races with a mix of excitement and dread. We've risked everything to get here. What if it's all for nothing? Easy, Beacon, I murmur as he shifts restlessly beside me. His wound is healing, but I can see the toll our journey has taken on us both. The boat bumps against the dock, and I secure it with shaking hands. For a moment, I just stand there, letting the solidity beneath my feet sink in. After so long at sea, it feels almost alien. Well, boy, I say, forcing lightness into my voice. Shall we see what we've found? Beacon woofs softly, his tail wagging with cautious optimism. Together we make our way up the winding path to the lighthouse entrance. The door creaks open, hinges protesting years of disuse. Inside, dust motes dance in shafts of light filtering through grimy windows. The air is stale, heavy with abandonment. Hello? I call out, my voice echoing. No response comes, save for a seabird's mournful cry outside. We climb the spiral staircase, each step sending vibrations through the structure. At the top, the lantern room awaits, its great lens intact but filmed with salt and grime. I run my hand over the cool glass, leaving a streak of clarity. It's beautiful, I breathe, taking in the endless sea view. But beauty doesn't fill empty stomachs or heal wounds. As awe fades, reality crashes over me. The lighthouse is abandoned. There's no community, no sanctuary. We're just as alone as ever. I sink to the floor, my back against the lens housing. Beacon whines, nosing my hand. Oh boy, I whisper, burying my face in his fur. What are we going to do? For a long moment I let myself feel it all. Exhaustion, fear, crushing disappointment. But Beacon's presence anchors me, reminding me I'm not truly alone. I've never been, not since I found him. Okay, I say, wiping my eyes. We're not done yet. There has to be something here, some reason this place was so important. Renewed determination fuels a thorough search. In the keeper's quarters I find old logbooks. Most entries are mundane, but as I flip through the most recent volume, something falls out. A folded piece of paper, newer than the rest. My hands tremble as I unfold it. It's a message in hasty scrawl. To whoever finds this, you're not alone. There's a settlement on higher ground, a place we can rebuild. Follow the old coastal highway north. When you see 3 peaks on the horizon, head inland. We'll leave signs. Don't give up hope. Below is a rough map showing landmarks. Beacon! I cry, voice cracking. Look, there's more out there. We found it. He barks excitedly, catching my mood shift. I laugh, really laugh, for what feels like the first time in years. As the sun sets, I stand atop the lighthouse, watching its beam cut through gathering dusk. It's not the end of our journey, but a new beginning. We have a heading, a purpose. What do you think, boy? I ask, scratching Beacon's ears. Ready for another adventure? His wagging tail answers clearly. I smile, feeling warmth in my chest unrelated to the fading sunlight. Yeah, I say softly. Me too. Tomorrow we'll set out, chasing the promise of 3 peaks on the horizon. We'll face new challenges, new dangers, but we'll face them together, carrying something precious we found in this lonely lighthouse. Hope. As night falls, I make a final trip to our boat, gathering supplies. In the morning we'll chart our new course, but now we rest, safe in our tower above the waves, the lighthouse beam sweeping dark waters, a beacon for other lost souls who might follow. Whatever comes next, we're ready. We're survivors after all, and now we're something more. We're hope carriers.
Close your eyes.